When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. Now, this story I've tried to make several occasions. I just didn't like how it came out. So I decided to completely redo the redo. This is going to be a Star Wars fanfiction, and the hero of our story will be called Wrath. As we start our story off in the Old Republic era, as you can see, several Star Destroyer bombard the planet because they refused to join the Empire. So the Sith Council ordered the Sith Council ordered the Imperial higher-ups in the military. Give me a second, guys. To fire upon the planet. Then taking any survivors that was force sensitive. And that's pretty much the whole planet. The planet is split off from dark side users, and other part of the world is mostly focused on using the light side of the Force. Both sides never had any sort of training with the Jedi and the Sith Order. Species of this world are called echoes, the echo species. It's a humanoid species like the Mandalorians and other humanoid species out in a wide galaxy. They're a species that has a strong connection with the light side and the dark side of the Force, alongside with the other population of the planet that's more in tune with the light side of the Force, much like the Jedi and Sith. They have many conflicts with each other. The light echoes sees the dark echoes as abomination that's to be purged, and the dark side echoes believe the light side echoes are nothing but arrogant savages. As we cut to one of the Star Destroyers outside of the planet's atmosphere, bombarding the planet, as you see a woman with long blonde hair, wearing a long black dress. That's over her dress is some sort of green outfit, with some sort of green mask covering her eyes. Resemble a Naboo. I don't know what they're called, but she's from Naboo. Her family line comes from Naboo, but she was born on Korriban. As a mysterious woman look upon the planet that was named Nemesis, the home world of the Echo race, she could sense a strong connection to the dark side somewhere down on the planet. Gather all my elite. We're going planet bound. As you command, ma'am. Victoria left the bridge of the Star Destroyer without saying another word and entering an elevator heading down to the dock area of the ship. The moment she got to the docking bay, she entered a shuttle alongside with her elite commandos. Orders, ma'am? Just follow my lead. Our mission is quite simple and clear. We're to Thatch, my new apprentice. I sense a strong connection between me and my new future apprentice. A force bond. And the connection between me and my new apprentice is quite strong. It's very fascinating. I've heard of force bonds acting in such a way. Expect heavy resistance. The planet is currently in a wide-scaled war between the light echoes and the dark echoes, according to our intel. While the two sides continue their conflict with each other, we'll use their battle as cover to enter the area where I sense my new apprentice is at. Whoever he or she might be. While they're in the process of entering the planet's atmosphere, Victoria sensed a disturbance in the force. I'm not surprised they'll be here. Listen well, men. Be ready for resistance. It seems like several Jedi, and most likely a couple units of the Republic soldiers, entering the planet atmosphere as we speak. Ready for a fight, boys. When the shuttle landed near the source of the force connection, she felt as she's just been following the force like a beacon. Shuttle landed outside of the city near a old temple ruin. The Sith Master ordered her unit to open fire the moment they stepped out of the shuttle, as they see Republic soldiers immediately engaging the dark echoes in a firefight near the strange ruin. Watching this scene as this battle commenced, Victoria ignited her crimson red lightsaber and reflects several blaster bolts back at the enemy soldiers that fire upon her by killing several Republic soldiers and Dark Echoes alike as they immediately opened fire. So Dark Echo noticed the presence of the Empire. With a simple force push, the Republic and Dark Echo battle formations broken apart as several of the Republican echoes, inhabitants of the planet, get pushed backwards hard by a very powerful force push. As Victoria ordered her Imperial soldiers to press on an attack, mowing them down with shots of their laser bolts out of their guns. Victoria just cut down any Republic soldier and Dark Echo warrior that challenged her until she entered the ruin. As all she can see is a lot of carvings over the wall, and some sort of ritual is described on one of the walls in a carving, with some sort of human sacrifice. Victoria was forced to cut down several echoes that are in robes. When they crossed paths with them, They immediately became hostile towards Victoria once they noticed her. So she was forced to cut them down with her lightsaber. Well, she didn't really mind. She's a Sith, so she'll kill them regardless. But she killed them out of principle for dare challenging a Sith master. Without even stopping, she extended her hand outwards, shooting out purple lightning out of her fingertips, well, Sith lightning out of her fingertips, electrocuting a huge group of Echo cult members, killing them, and well, basically killing them instantly, until she arrived at the main chamber to see several women in some sort of ritual clothes, almost like priestesses, where she sees the middle of the chamber is a slab with a newborn baby in the middle of it, as she could see the different women wearing different clothing from the rest of the zealots approach the baby, pulling out a ritual dagger and preparing to stab the child in the heart to siphon the dark side energy out of the baby, out of the baby in some sort of ritual. When Victoria sees this, she became extremely angry as the knife gets ripped out of the woman's hand and right into Victoria's. As she flew it back with the force at the lead priestess, as the ritual blade or well dagger stabbed the woman in the skull, killing the priestess instantly. Killed the rest. Leave no one standing. Victoria approached the altar to see some sort of symbols on the baby written in his own blood, as she clearly could see the bandage over the baby's arm when they took some blood of the small child. Victoria was about to reach for the child, only to get a disturbance in the force, as she ignited her Crimson Blade lightsaber and clashed it with a glowing blue lightsaber. As the two lightsabers grinding against each other to reveal a Jedi Master that tried to cut her down when her back was turned. I didn't know you were here, Sith, but whatever you're planning, you're gonna die here today. Do I sense anger in you, little Jedi? That's not the Jedi way. As she pushed the Jedi away from her. When her unit was about to fire upon the Jedi, Victoria raised her hand to stop her men. Leave the Jedi to me. He's mine to kill. Kill the rest of these cultists. Leave no one standing. Don't show any mercy. I might be a Sith, but sacrificing a mere child is something I won't tolerate. What you're playing at, Sith, I highly doubt you're saving that abomination with the goodness of your own heart. That child posed too much of a threat. If he would grow in the power he wields, he would put the entire Jedi Order in danger. I could sense the pure potential the child has. I will not allow this abomination to grow in power. Hearing that, she immediately charged the Jedi Master. As the two lightsabers collided with each other immediately, as sparks begin to fly from their lightsaber swings, trying to chop each other off, as blue blade flew against red, as they're moving around the chamber, as they get into a lightsaber struggle, as the two color blades grind against each other, making small sparks when they do so. Victoria had to once they separated, Victoria had to block a wide swing from the blue lightsaber. As the Jedi swung again, she didn't block this time around. Once her lightsaber collided with the blue lightsaber, she redirected his swung, then chopped the Jedi in half, from top to bottom, killing the Jedi Master, and using black Sith lightning, for good measure, coming out of her fingertips, just to make sure he stays dead. Overkill, but she's very thorough. Another Jedi come rushing at her, forcing Victoria to unleash more Sith lightning at her fingertips. As the Jedi tried to redirect the Sith lightning, forcing him onto his knee, Victoria did not stop her assault, as she swung her lightsaber downwards upon the Jedi, only to see the Jedi be decapitated by her own lightsaber, as she cut right through the Jedi. As she was forced to jump backwards, then engage another Jedi that came out of nowhere, cutting right through his lightsaber, destroying his weapon, and pierce her crimson blade through his chest, then chopping the head off that Jedi as well. As she disconnected her lightsaber power, unsheathed it basically, and put it back on her hilt on the side of her waist. As she picked up the small child gently in her arms, and could sense the connection to the dark side that this mere child has, with a ruffle of purple hair that she could see, with purple eyes gazing upon her with curiosity. She couldn't help but smile at the small baby in her arms. As her mother instincts resurface, she's always wanted a child, but unable to create a child herself. She was quite injured when she fought her very first Jedi that destroyed her reproduction organs, so she's unable to have a child, nor the traditional way, at least. But she could have gone make it into the laboratory, but she never wanted to do that. So adopting the small baby as her own was the next best thing. And she could tell the baby has a strong bond with the Force, and especially the bond between them, the Force bond they have. She was surprised to find a child that had a Force bond with her. But Victoria knows very well that she could forge this child into a fine apprentice. Victoria knows very well when they do these type of sacrifices, they killed the mother instantly after childbirth, so the likelihood the baby still having a living family was very unlikely. So she would take the child and adopt him in her family that she belongs to. This is her son now, and anyone else says otherwise, she'll cut them down without even a second thought. No hesitation. Victoria immediately retreated back to the shuttle with her men in tow, after she had her men brutally execute all the cult members. Oddly enough, they were all female. Victoria knows from her brief history lesson of the Echo species, there aren't many male dark Echoes in their culture. They're kept all males are kept in carbonite for future use. Then when they're no longer useful, they're executed immediately afterwards. And any male child are born are sacrificed to siphon the dark energy from the victim, increasing their power. Of course, Victoria wasn't the only Sith that took several of the Dark Echoes that found out wasn't sacrifice, or anyone that was strong, had a strong connection with the dark side, was taken in, either as slaves or as apprentices. When she got back to the Star Destroyer, she commanded her men to open fire on the main guns upon the planet, forcing the Republic presence on the planet to retreat, as the Imperial presence crippled both factions of the planet. As the Empire took, several Force-sensitive childs from the dark side, well, from the Dark Echoes, and some Jedi did manage to take several babies of the Light Echoes to the Jedi Order to train to make them into Jedi, to increase their number and power. As Victoria made her way to a different sector entirely, back on her homeworld, Korriban, the homeworld of the Sith in the heart of the Empire. Victoria stares through the large window on the bridge while holding a small baby in her arms, feeding it with some milk that she ordered one of the droids to make for the small child. The trip back was quite peaceful as she arrived at her home. Victoria is one of many noble families of Sith that resides on Korriban. Rest of her family. She loves the Empire, but she sees flaws in the power structure forming the Empire. That's why she's been aiming to get on the Dark Council. The members of the most promising Sith. And the fact that her desire to be on the Dark Council is well known. So she has to be careful moving forward. The Dark Council will have eyes on her. Has to build her power base from scratch for what they are now. Her power base is strong, but not strong enough for her liking. All she's missing is a new apprentice, and her new son will take that role, will fill that role quite nicely. She's going to train her son differently than the typical Sith apprentice. The fact she's going to adopt him into her family. She knows the rest of her family might disagree at first, but once they sense the pure connection to the dark side the child holds, they'll change their tunes quite fast. A week later, Victoria... Give me a second, guys. Signs the papers to officially adopt her son into her family. The word did spread. Not even a full year. Several other Sith orchestrated several assassination attempts on the small baby because they feared its power. Given time to grow, it could be a threat. Of course, killing other Sith is frowned upon. They sent out several Sith. Several Sith assassins to infiltrate Victoria's residence. As you can see, a Sith in the dead of night, enter a room with a crib, ignited his lightsaber, ready to strike down the baby where it slept peacefully. This is the 5th assassination attempt to take the life of the small child. The moment the Sith assassin lunged his lightsaber down to pierce the baby in the heart, only to reveal the baby was a hologram, as a crimson blade pierced through the chest of the so-be assassin, as someone whispered in his ears, "You honestly think I did not hear about the whispers about my darling little boy? How many of my fellow Sith outright scheme in my baby's boy's assassination? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Very naughty of you. They hide in the shadows, fearing my wrath." Wrath. That's perfect. Thank you for helping me decide on my new son's name. Don't worry. You won't be lonely long. Your master will be following you shortly. As she pulled out her crimson lightsaber blade out of the assassin's chest and chopped the head off the assassin, Victoria walked over to the bookshelf and pulled a book halfway out, revealing a secret department, to see a young Wrath sleeping peaceful in his crib. Victoria picked Wrath up in her arms and went to her room to keep her son close, just in case there's any more assassination attempts upon his life. The next day, Victoria knows it's not safe for her son on Korriban, so she decided to leave the planet to go to one of many worlds that she knows that has a strong connection to the dark side, to raise her son and train him when he becomes the proper age. Telling the rest of her family that she's going to be gone for several years. Her family is completely outraged by the assassination attempts. Don't be mistaken. They have any affection towards the Dabba's son, but they do respect power, and that child will once wield such power that in turn will bring great prestige and honor to their house. There's one thing this family respects, is power, and she plans to use that to her advantage to safeguard the safety of her new son, Wrath. 10 years has passed, as you see Victoria observing her 10-year-old son practicing with a practice lightsaber, doing several lightsaber forms. Excellent performance, flawless as always. Thank you, Mother. Why don't you put away your practice saber and get cleaned up? The rest of the day, feel free to explore the planet at your heart's content, my son. Wrath normally is emotionless. Wrath normally would be emotional, but he stilled his expression, keeping his composure. But he did run up to hug his mother. Then went off to put his practice saber back into his room and get dressed. After saying goodbye to his mother, he bolted out of the small mansion that was built on this world and went outside to go to the walk through the forest. Wrath ran into the forest, jumping over several cut down trees in the process. Wrath approached his favorite spot. He likes to visit this wide, cleared out area in the forest with several boulders and rocks scattered all around. Perfect scenery to practice with the Force. Wrath sat down in a meditation posture and began to levitate smaller rocks around him The rocks started to shake and eventually lift up in the air and swirl around Wrath like a cyclone. The flying pebbles or rocks suddenly became erratic, flying around Wrath, as Wrath can see several images across the galaxy of Jedi and Sith fighting to the death. He felt all the emotion, dread, anger, fear. What surprised Wrath, he felt a lot of negative emotions directly towards the direction of the Jedi. He was always taught that his mother taught him that the Jedi are simply peacekeepers that follow a strict code. Wrath has found their actions most recent in the past couple years to be quite complexing. Some of them are straying away from the order, strict rules. Wrath was broken out of his meditation while breathing heavy. After he composed himself, he went back to meditation to work through such raw emotions he just felt through the Force. His ability to sense emotions from anyone he crossed paths or has felt before through the Force it's a very useful tool when he officially becomes a Sith. Once he's no longer a Sith apprentice. The next few days, his training with the lightsaber and his Force abilities increased tenfold, as he did this for several years until he turned 14. Your training has progressed quite nicely, apprentice. You have done your mother proud so far. You still have much to learn, my son. Unlike most Sith, the dark side will not corrupt you. That's why I train you in such a way. Remember to use the dark side as an extension of yourself. And don't succumb to the seduction of power. If you do this, the corruption will not befall you, my son. I won't fail you, mother. See that you don't, my apprentice. You are ready for your very first lightsaber. There's a cave on this planet that produces kyber crystals. You're to venture to this cave and acquire your very first kyber crystal, then make your lightsaber once you return back here. Just be warned. There are dangerous creatures in that cave. You've been warned. There's a strong presence of the dark side in that area. You must do this alone. I cannot assist you in this endeavor, my apprentice. Get some rest. You'll leave first thing in the morning. As Victoria left the training field to head back into her room to find her son's very first mission, he is going to embark once he successfully acquire his very first lightsaber. The next day, Wrath prepared himself to travel to the cave that his mother mentioned. His mother saw him off as he eventually entered the forest to travel to the cave to get to his and acquire his very first kyber crystal, then head back to assemble his very own lightsaber. Finding a cave that produces kyber crystals is very rare. Most of the time the Empire make kyber crystals. Unlike the Jedi, that goes to planets that produces kyber crystals instead of making synthetic kyber crystals. The way to the cave was uneventful. He did pass a lot of the predators, that are common on this world. They once they saw his once they felt his presence, they immediately gave him a wide berth, sensing danger from Wrath. That's why no predator tried to attack. Once he entered the cave, he could sense all kinds of different type of life forms through the force, living in this cave structure. Several spider-like creatures hopped down from the ceiling right in front of Wrath. He extended one of his... Once he entered the main chamber of the cave, the creature's skin was pure white, with several black eyes. The creature resembling an oversized spider. Wrath raised his hand outwards towards the bug and shot out force fire out of his fingertips. That's one force ability he's quite in tune with. Force fire. It came naturally. It came naturally for Wrath, like breathing. As the purple fire engulfed and vaporizing the animal, only leaving charred corpse. As Deku continued his way forward, going deeper into the cave to find the main chamber where the kyber crystals are growing. After a few chambers, Wrath made his destination. Finally made his destination to see all sorts of kyber crystals in all sorts of colors, shapes, and sizes, decorated all around the chamber. But Wrath felt a strong connection to one kyber crystal in specific, a pure black crystal, kyber crystal. When he was about to approach his kyber crystal, a humongous spider revealed itself from the shadows, standing right in the pathway of Wrath. Wrath looked up to see the humongous spider that, almost the size of the whole chamber, staring downwards at him with drool coming from the spider's mouth with the sharp teeth. Wrath dodged out of the way from one of the spider legs that shattered right through a boulder that was on the chamber ground. Wrath shot out force fire out of his fingertips at the spider, only to hear the spider scream and hiss out of pain, and immediately tried to pierce Wrath with his spider tendrils, basically spider legs. It's very sharp, forcing Wrath to invade and dodge out of the way of the spider legs thrusting downwards. Using the force to increase his speed to help him to invade the attack of the Spider Queen, Wrath was fully aware that his force push would not work on this huge spider. He's not strong enough with the force push to push a large animal like this. He hasn't fully mastered Sith Lightning either. He'll most likely injure himself more than injuring the creature that's in front of him. So he is forced to only use force fire until he notices the top of the chamber. There's a large portion of the ceiling loose. After dodging a few more spider legs thrust downwards towards his direction, he used the force to loosen up the rubble on top of the chamber. As the chamber begins to cave on itself, Wrath used the force to draw the kyber crystal into his hand. As the kyber crystal flew from its spot right into Wrath's hand, and immediately turned around to run through the exit, while being chased by the Spider Queen, breaking through the main entrance of the chamber, but eventually being overcome by rubble, crushing the spider to death. Wrath was forced to jump out of the exit of the cave and went into a roll. As the cave blocked itself off, Toria was waiting for her son outside the cave. She raised her eyebrow at the destruction of the cave entryway. Victoria could easily fix the cave entrance, just using a bit of her force powers. That's an easy enough task to uphold, but she'll worry about that later. She's fully aware that there were dangerous creatures in the cave. She has complete faith in her son would prevail in this task. Follow me and I'll give you the necessary parts to construct your very first lightsaber, my son. Yes, Mother. I'm sorry about the cave. It's quite alright, dear. That can't be helped. It's easily fixed. With a lightsaber and a bit of force power. You've done very well. Victoria and Wrath finally made it back to the compound, as Victoria placed several lightsaber parts in front of her son, from all shapes and sizes. I'm quite curious what hilt you will build. You may begin, my son. Wrath sat down in meditation posture on the ground as the different pieces of lightsaber began to float up, constructing into a lightsaber hilt. As Wrath got up and ignited his lightsaber hilt, as a black crimson blade come out of it, much like as revealing a pure black lightsaber blade. Victoria ignited her own crimson blade and got into her fighting stance with her lightsaber. Let's see how much you've learned, my apprentice. Wrath didn't have to respond verbally. He got into his own lightsaber stance and charged forward at his own mother, swinging his lightsaber down, only for Victoria to block it with her crimson blade. As they both used their opposite hand to force push each other, as there was a force push struggle, they both separate from each other and blast out sith lightning out of their hands at the same time. When the two visual sith lightning collide with each other, there was another power struggle. Wrath saw his mother pushing his sith lightning back. He immediately stopped using the ability to roll to dodge out of the way from the sith lightning that hit the wall behind him, charring the wall by doing so. Wrath charged forward with a very aggressive stance as he swung downwards upon his mother, tried to strike her down with a vicious strike, only to see it collide with the crimson blade, eventually colliding with his mother's lightsaber. Red and black color engulfed the training room when the two lightsabers collided with each other, making sparks as they go. They both jumped backwards using the Force and deactivated their lightsaber at the same time. Victoria smiled at her son. She didn't notice at first, but she noticed a slight burns on her son's hand from using Force lightning. Her teacher mode switched to her loving, doting mother mode and ran over to her son, taking him by the hand and examining the injury. As she dragged her son gently to take care of his injury before it scars. That was very dangerous of you, son, to use Sith lightning. You've only recently discovered that ability. It wasn't my attention, Mother. I just did it by pure instinct during our little spar. I've been dreading this day, dear. What's going on? I highly doubt this has something to do with my burn on my hand. Victoria could see the concerned look on her son's face. So she steeled herself. You're ready. You have much to learn, but I believe you're ready to take on this task. As your mother, I didn't want you to do this so soon, but as your master, I know it's time. You're ready for your very first mission. Raz is extremely excited about the mere mention going on his first mission, but he kept his composure, even though Victoria could tell her son is extremely excited about the prospect of going on his very first mission, leaving this planet. He's always had a adventurous spirit. Where am I going, Mother? You'll be going to one of the many worlds that are completely controlled by the criminal underworld of the galaxy, the Hutt cartel. I already have it programmed in the galaxy map on your new vessel I had stored away just for this occasion. This vessel is mostly used for Black Ops operation, stealth and spy. It's a stealth and spy ship. Not too big, but not too small. Your ship won't be detected on any sensor. And it was already built with a stealth generator built into it. It's a perfect vessel for a upcoming Sith apprentice as yourself. And the locations, like I said, it's already in the ship computer. You're to find and locate 2 Imperial traitors with a Sith that went rogue. He killed his master and killed several other masters on his way out. It's typical behavior of a master and apprentice relationship. To believe that cocky bastard killed several masters before he left. The dead masters weren't very strong, at least. To your average Sith, but Sith's dying makes the Dark Council very nervous and fidgety. So they sent me a mission that I'm giving to you. All the information on your targets is in the ship computers. I suggest you read and study the information while you're on transit towards the planet. When do I leave? You leave tomorrow. You need to get a good night rest before you embark on your very first mission, my apprentice. As you command, my master. Wrath spend the rest of the day spending time with his mother. There's only one person left in the slightest he cares about. That is his own mother. He loves his mother and respects her. The woman raised him and adopted him like he was her own flesh. He fully knows he's adopted, but that doesn't bug him one bit. They maybe not be related by blood, but that doesn't change the fact that is his mother. The next day, after saying his goodbye to his master and mother, and boarded on to his stealth ship, immediately took off, breaking the atmosphere and beginning its travel to his destination, a world in the next sector that is run by the Hutt cartel. The ship finally landed on the docks. After getting clearance, he left his spaceship, his stealth ship, and activated many defenses just in case someone tried to aboard his ship while he was while while he's away. Wrath is wearing a Sith robe, concealing his identity. As he began to venture through the streets, as once everyone noticed his presence, they gave him a wide berth. Many of this world's inhabitants have seen a Sith before, and they know better to get in the way of any Sith. That's a one-way ticket to get yourself killed. Wrath made his way to his first stop and walked into a cantina. For those who are not very familiar with Star Wars, it's basically like a bar, mostly for bounty hunters, common criminals, and all that jazz. So let's continue. And some civilians, of course. They play nerds gambling and all that. I forget the name I forget the name of the game they play in cantinas in Star Wars. It's been a little bit. Once Wrath entered the cantina, he made his way to the bartender and sat down. I haven't seen one of your like in my establishment in a couple years. What can I get you, Sith? Your best drink and some information. The drink is doable, non-alcoholic, because you clearly are underage. But who really going to stop us? The Hutts? Unlikely. I'll give you a good first starter. You don't look like a drinker. But the information, that is going to cost you more. I know for a fact you can outright kill me without me even moving. I know that as much when it comes to you Sith. But you're not the first Sith I came across, and you won't be the last. Given you haven't outright demand the information from the start once you sat down, I could tell you're different compared to your other lot. Unlike the other savages, I was trained and raised properly. I know the ways of the world. Information like this requires equal amount of payment. As Wrath put down 3 rows of credits on the bar counter. I like how you think. What information do you require? There are 3 traders that have took refuge on this world. They're Imperial. And a Sith went rogue that are hiding somewhere on this world. I know where the 2 Imperials are that are hiding. They're hiding in the slums. But the Sith, I have no intel on that one. That's quite alright. I'll find him or I'll lure him out. Somehow. Thank you for the information. As Wrath drank his alcoholic drink, getting kind of a buzz, and left the cantina without saying another word, and continue on with his business when he was done here. While walking down the street of the city, he saw bounty hunters going about their business, criminals hustling, couple stone owners for protection money, strange-looking aliens that looked like pigs were very short, carrying some sort of battle axe, stomping on a man on the ground, but Ras passed them without even giving them a second glance, eventually getting into the slum area of the city, as everyone on the street immediately went back to their homes the moment they saw Wrath, covering in pitch black robes, walking down the street. Wrath could hear blaster fire on the next street over, so he went to investigate only to see the two of his targets, the Imperial traders, having a firefight with a Jedi Master and her Padawan. This is the first time he's seen a Jedi in action. So Wrath could tell the Jedi Master is quite powerful. She holds herself with her lightsaber in confidence, in a completely flawless form. The Padawan was quite skilled as well. Not as skilled as the Master, but that's to be expected. But she could tell that Wrath could tell he could beat the Padawan easily, but beating the Jedi Master would not be easy one bit. It would be a hard fought fight. And he's not entirely confident he could take that Jedi Master out with his current skill and power. He saw a couple criminals approach the Padawan and managed to knock the lightsaber out of her hand. As that's when Wrath decided to act, as the two Imperial soldiers lift up in the air, grabbing on their neck like they're being choked, and snap the Imperial's neck, killing them both instantly, surprising the Jedi and her Padawan. Some sort of reinforcements arrive, most likely criminals that they hire. As they start firing upon the Jedi and her apprentice, the reinforcements are unaware that their new bosses have been killed by having their necks snapped by a force choke. Wrath had enough and stepped out of the shadows of the street, walking slowly towards the Jedi and her apprentice, as the two walk past the collapsed, dead Imperial soldiers with their neck being snapped by using a force choke. As he uses the force to slam the bodies against the wall of both sides of the street, hitting on it, cracking the wall of one of the houses. The houses are most like apartments. If you know how Star Wars are, they don't actually have, most slummed areas will have like little apartment areas for houses, stuff like that. So just trying to give you a feel of how the street looks. Wrath used force speed and force jump to land right in the middle of the hired thugs, as Wrath ignited his lightsaber that revealed a black beam. He immediately acted and chopped down one after another with no mercy. As suddenly, with all how fast he was moving, all the bodies dropped dead to the ground, all at once. As Wrath turns towards the Jedi, as the Jedi Master and her apprentice got into her lightsaber form, ready to engage the Sith right in front of him if things get hostile. Wrath watched the Jedi apprentice charge forward, ignoring her master protests, and swung her lightsaber. Wrath simply sidestepped, forcing her blade to hit the ground, then simply kick the girl in the stomach as the Padawan sent flying with a little bit of extra force with a force push, accelerating her into the wall, knocking her out, and turned around to block a lightsaber strike from hitting him by blocking the swung of the Jedi Master as black blade met blue. Wasn't expecting to come across another Sith. Besides the one I'm hunting, that is. I'm just following orders, just like you, Jedi Master. I've never fought a Jedi before. At a Master at that. Let's have a little fun, shall we? Let's say until your apprentice over there regains consciousness. I believe we could come up with a compromise. As blue and black light decorate the streets, engulfing in their own different colors, as the two lightsabers collided with each other, making sparks of light. As the Jedi and Sith clashed blades with each other, that lasted several hours until the Jedi Padawan finally regained consciousness, as both Sith and Jedi shut off, disengaged their weapon, and put their both lightsabers on their hilt at the same time. My Padawan, come here and don't engage. Yes, Master. I don't sense any hostility towards us, Sith. Even when we were in a lightsaber battle, I never once felt any hint of hostility or anger or hate towards me and my apprentice. So I estimated you're not here for us. You are correct, Master Jedi. I believe we might be after the same target. There's a rogue Sith hiding somewhere on this planet. My orders were to execute the traitor. And according to what I just heard, you're most likely after the same Sith. Because I don't believe there's more than 2 Sith on this planet, outside of myself and the target. According to what information I have on the target, he took out his old master and a few others before he made his escape from the Imperial territory. We are also here to execute that same Sith. He had killed several Jedis that has visited this planet over the months. Considering we have the same target, I would like to suggest a temporary partnership. Master, are you crazy? He's a Sith. He may be a Sith, my young apprentice, but not all Sith are evil. A lesson I learned many years ago. The same thing can be said with some of the fellow Jedis under the Order. It all depends on your point of view of things, my young Padawan. Life is not simple black and white, good and evil. You have to learn that eventually. Jedi and Sith partnering up. Why not? I have no problem with that. Jedi, Master Jedi. As long as my mission is complete, that's all I care about. Honestly, I'm quite surprised you're so willing to cooperate with us. Given the Sith history with the Jedi and the Jedi Order, I have no interest in killing Jedi for no goddamn reason. If a Jedi wronged me in the future, he'll die, that's a guarantee, but I won't go out of my way to hunt down Jedi, just because they're Jedi. Or apprentice. But if I was ordered, that's another thing. If my master ordered me to kill Jedi, then I will not hesitate, but I do not hold any ill will towards the Jedi and the Order itself. Interactions I've ever had with the Jedi, only interactions I had is with my fellow Sith, my master. Who is your master, by the way? Darth Eclipse. I don't believe I know that Sith name. Just out of curiosity, where is he or she? You know I can't tell you that, Master Jedi. Couldn't help a girl from you couldn't blame a girl for trying. So, do you know who we're going after, anyways? Unfortunately, no. I only got intel on the Imperials that you were fighting before I killed them. I was surprised you killed the 2 Imperial soldiers without even batting an eye. They were traitors to the Empire. Their fate was already deemed. Their fate was already decided. I should be able to track this Sith down through the Force. I'm more in tune to sense the dark side, given I am a Sith. I just need to find a place out of the way. Secluded would be best. I know a place that would work out quite nicely for this. It's a couple miles outside of the city in the wilderness, northeast. Very well, Master Jedi. I'll follow your lead. Jedi and Sith left the city and went into a nearby forest, entering the clearing. Wrath immediately went into a meditation stance and began searching through the Force, trying to locate the hidden Sith on the planet. He first searched the city, not feeling any trace of the dark side. He feels a lot of pain, suffering, greed, anger inside the city itself, but no trace of the dark side. So he extended his search outwards, towards the wilderness of the planet. He would have missed the small hint of dark side energy if he wasn't trained to use the Force in such a matter. Instead of following what's already been done, Wrath has always tried to use the Force in ways that haven't been discovered. He focused his attention towards the area that's filled with the hint of dark side. As he sees a vision of a old Sith temple in form of a pyramid in the vast wilderness, as Wrath opened his eyes. I found him. Follow me. As Wrath got up. Jedi Master was amazed. She has a base idea what he just did, but she needed a confirmation. Exactly what did you do, Sith? I used the Force to scan the planet. As you know, the Force is everywhere. I simply tapped into that and find any signs of the dark side. It's a very difficult Force ability to use. I call it Force Search. This is a very small world. If I tried Force Search on a bigger world, I would only be able to scan part of the planet, not the entire planet. With my current abilities and strength in the Force, that's all I can do for now. There's much I need to learn about the Force. I may be a Sith, but I'm still a Sith apprentice. I've met many Sith over the years. You're a strange one for sure. Not a lot of Sith would join forces with a Sith without interior motives. But I've never sensed any interior motives from you. I don't hate Jedi like the other Sith in the Empire. Like those fools, I know there will always be a light side and a dark side when it comes to the Force. They're part of the same coin. No matter how much the Sith whine and complain, that will never change. When one side becomes more powerful, the Force will equal it one way or another. Balance the scale, if I would put it into a phrase, Master Jedi. I find this war with the Empire and the Republic a waste of resources. But I'm no fool. I know my place. It's impossible with current leadership in the Empire. And there's one thing I know for sure. The Emperor is not the type to search out for peace. he won't stop this war against the Republic until one side lives and one side perish. It's only inevitable. But such thoughts are above my station. My only concern is serving my master and becoming more powerful. You're quite wise for your age. I could tell by your voice you're quite young. 14 or 15 at most. Maybe 16. Something like that. And I could sense you're not corrupted by the dark side like most Sith. Wrath scoff at the idea of being corrupted or submitting to the dark side like some sort of fool, like many Sith before him. Because I'm not an idiot, and I was trained in the dark side to prevent such corruption from ever happening. I wasn't trained in the Empire or the Sith Academy. I might want power, but I'm not some power-hungry fool, nor am I afraid of my mortality. And I'm not blind like the Empire Sith. I use the dark side like a fine-tuned blade. I refuse to submit to the dark side like a crutch. Like those arrogant fools back in the Empire. I despise how the typical Sith are trained, but nor do I have the power to change how things are run. I know my place in the grand scheme of things. Until I gain more power, prestige, and honor, I must stain my hand from any actions in the future. Don't get me wrong. I'm a patriot. I love the Empire. But I could do without the arrogant people that runs it. We're here as the two Jedi, a Padawan and Jedi, and Sith, see some sort of black pyramid that has several stones archways with some sort of Sith writing on it. The Sith traders inside the temple, I could feel it. Now that we're here, I could feel it as well. All three Force wielders ignited their own lightsabers and ventured into the pyramid, only to find their target in the middle of the main chamber of the Sith ruin, with his back turned towards them. I sense your presence, Sith. A Sith and a Jedi working together. That's something you don't see every day. As the unknown Sith ignited his crimson red lightsaber, then turned around. Wrath couldn't tell who the guy was because of his armor blocking because of the body armor and helmet over his cloak or his little hood. He basically looks like this in the picture. I'll deal with you in a moment, Jedi, in your little apprentice. Before we cross blades, Sith, I wish to know who I'm going to be killing. Name and master. I'm Wrath, and my master will remain unknown. Very well, so be it. I challenge you, Wrath, as he pointed his lightsaber at Wrath. In the ways of old, in the ways of Sith tradition. And the Sith trader knows that no Sith can refuse a direct challenge. As Sith warriors, they're Sith warriors after all, their honor would not allow it. Master Jedi, I'll be engaging this traitor first. If I fall, the rest is up to you. I cannot refuse this challenge. It would dishonor my house if I do so. I understand. The Jedi Master doesn't want to intervene with a duel like this. She has witnessed several Sith challenges like this in a duel. She doesn't know much about Sith culture, but she knows a challenge like this is very serious. She might not like the Sith Order, but she respects them as warriors. So she stayed her hand and kept her Padawan from intervening. She'll get herself killed. Before we begin, I am the third son of one of the many noble houses on Korriban. I am Darth Drax. Let's see what you're capable of, young one. This should be quite interesting. The Force is strong with you. I can feel the dark side emanated from you, Wrath. You've clearly been trained well. Out of curiosity, before we start our death dance, why did you kill your master and several others when you betrayed the Empire? It's quite simple. My master and those other masters were fools. They were holding us back. The galaxy will fear Darth Drax. I will spread across the galaxy like a swarm of locusts. Then I will gain enough power. Kill my enemies. Challenge and kill the Empire. And take over the Empire and rule it in my image. To how I see fit. Wrath wasn't stupid. He immediately noticed the we part, but he kept his composure. I see very well. Without even hesitating, Wrath charged forward, swinging his black, glowing lightsaber blade towards his chest. Drax briefly had enough time to hop backwards to see a slash across his chest from the black lightsaber, burning part of his armor and melting it. Drax couldn't help but smile underneath his mask. From that simple attack he just received, he was indeed right that his opponent is very strong. Opponent is strong, most likely a prodigy. He couldn't help but get the thrill for battle. He might be a power-hungry psychopath, Sith, but he's still a warrior. Drax wanted to feel out his opponent, so he swung his lightsaber out fast, paced lightsaber strikes, only to see Wrath block every attempt with the same amount of speed. Drax couldn't recognize the lightsaber form. I've never seen that lightsaber form before, as they broke off from their attack, as they began to circle around each other without even breaking eye contact. The reason why you haven't seen it before is because I am the inventor of this form. It doesn't have a name yet. Instead of following the same road that everyone has walked upon, I found a new trail to walk on that hasn't been traveled on. Prepare yourself. I won't be shown any mercy from now on. I wouldn't want it any other way. As both Sith re-engaged their lightsaber battle, exchanging blow after blow from each other, as red and black light decorated the walls inside of the pyramid, Wrath decided to use speed instead of strength. It's clearly visible his opponent is far more stronger than he is, because he's a full-grown adult. He's 16, so he was forced to use fast-paced motions, fast strikes to overwhelm his opponent, instead of using pure strength. In the midst of battle, Wrath changed his lightsaber form suddenly and chopped off the hand of Drax, forcing him to drop his lightsaber as he stabbed him as a black crimson blade dug into his stomach, as a Sith known as Drax fell down to one knee. Any last words before I kill you? Well fought, Wrath. I have nothing meaningful to say, except one thing. I think you would want to know. I wasn't alone. There's more of us. And when they realize more of us than you realize. I might be good, but I'm not capable of killing several super powerful sisters, super powerful Sith Lords all at once. Word spreads of my defeat. They'll be coming for you. Hope you're ready, because you're going to need it. They're far more powerful than I am. Good luck, warrior. The young Sith separated the head of the Sith from the rest of his body, then deactivated his lightsaber and picked up his opponent's lightsaber and put the two lightsabers on his holster around his waist and turned to the Jedi. Well, that was quite troubling. That's an understatement. What will you do now? Return to my master. Wrath turned his back towards the Jedi and began to walk away. Wait, you're not going to try to kill me? Like I said, I have no interest in killing Jedi, unless I'm ordered to. We might not leave here as friends, but nor do we leave here as enemies. Who knows? Our paths might cross again. After all, the Force works in mysterious ways. May the Force be with you, Master Jedi. Sometime later, after Wrath boarded onto a ship and took off from the planet, he activated his holographic communicator, showing the image of his mother, as Wrath kneels down to one knee and places a lightsaber of the traitor Sith in front of him. Master, the traitor has been silenced. I have came across some troubling news. If the man was telling the truth before I executed him. Proceed, my apprentice. Before I struck him down, he relayed some interesting information. According to what he told me, he wasn't the only one. That means he must be a part of a group of Sith. Their numbers I'm unsure of. They might have members on pretty high on the pecking order. And if his words speak truth, they'll be far more powerful than he was. There's a possibility there's a very powerful Sith Master responsible. He was clearly being used. I don't know how high up the chain this puppet master is. I'm not surprised. We Sith are prideful and lustful for power. It's natural, like breathing to us. I'll look into the matter. Return home, my son. You've done well on your very first mission. Thank you, Mother. I also crossed paths with a Jedi Master and her Padawan. So you finally crossed paths with a Jedi. Did it end with a conflict? We did cross blades, but it wasn't a death battle. I just wanted to gauge my capabilities against a Jedi Master. I could sense that by that battle, I know there's still much I need to learn. When we end our little spar, we temporarily we temporarily joined forces to hunt down the Sith traitor. After my mission was completed, we went our separate ways. Did you catch the Jedi Master's name? No, Master, I did not ask. I shouldn't be surprised. You've never held any hatred towards the Jedi Order, like most Sith. After all, I trained you to be that way. The Sith hatred towards the Jedi blinds them. That's why we haven't won the war already. I might not hold any hatred towards that order, Mother. But that doesn't mean I won't strike them down if I was ordered to. I have no doubt that you will, my son. Once you get back, be ready to leave again. We're returning to the Empire. Understood, my master. As the holographic image of his mother disappeared, as Wrath went into his chamber to meditate until his arrival back home to the planet he's been training on for years. And that's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judging by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.